Introducing to you first, the challenger. On my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing green trunks with gold trim. He weighed in at the light flyweight limit of 108 pounds even. His record stands at 24 wins, 2 losses, and 2 no contests, with 14 wins coming by way of knockout. From Honolulu, Hawaii, by way of St. Helena, Vegan City, Ilocos Sur, please welcome the 2000 Olympian, the current IBF number 9 ranked light flyweight, and the former WBC light flyweight champion of the world, introducing the Hawaiian Punch, Hawaiian Viloria. And his opponent across the ring is the defending world champion. On my left, fighting out of the red corner, entering the ring wearing green trunks with red and white trim. He weighed in at a ready 107 pounds. His fine record stands at 28 wins, only 1 defeat, 2 draws, with 20 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is one of boxing's great world champions from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. Today he is making the 9th defense of his title, introducing the hard-hitting IBF light flyweight champion of the world. Please welcome Ulises Solis. Once again, our referee in charge now to give instructions, Bruce McTavish.
Let me give you instructions in the dressing room. Touch gloves. Mouthpiece.
Bruce McTavish, our Kiwi referee, well known in this part of the world, and a great referee. This should be interesting, Al. This should be really interesting because there's so much at stake. Solis talking about getting his recognition one fight at a time, trying to get that fight against Ivan Calderon if you can. And here's a young man, the can't-miss young man, Brian Viloria, who decided to change everything last year. Things weren't working, and he went with a new training camp up in Oxnard above Los Angeles, and he comes out firing.
Robert Garcia, his new trainer, and you know, Viloria wants to get inside if he can, be aggressive. He's already coming out throwing left hooks, and you see his aggression from the beginning. The danger for Viloria, one of the big dangerous punches that he will face is the uppercut of Solis. Solis has not only a good jab, which you just saw, but a great uppercut, and Viloria has to be very careful bending in not to get hit with that punch.
A very quick jab from Solis right there. 2 nicer guys you won't find outside of the ring. Consummate professionals, very cooperative when you talk to them.
In this fight and our main event, both great representatives for the sport of boxing.
Good right hand from Viloria right there. Solis smiles, so it hurt him quickly. And then another right hand staggered Solis. Viloria going in quickly.
He is not known as a great right-handed puncher, Viloria, but the left hook is his main weapon. But boy, the right is working tonight.
Got it caught. Solis sleeping a little bit there early, but Viloria comes out and he really means business. So Solis has just gotten a wake-up call from the challenger.
Well, don't look ahead to an Ivan Calderon fight quite yet if you're Solis, and he's got nailed with a big left hook.
Right-left combination again, straight in. Viloria. I don't think he's intimidated. I would say that for the least.
Well, Viloria's plan was to be aggressive in round 1, and we've certainly seen that. And Solis has had a hard time counterpunching. I think he thought he would be able to counterpunch Viloria when he came in, and that hasn't worked out yet.
Another blistering first round here in these light weight classes that we have here in the Philippines. Left hook once again, and that's the punch you're talking about, Al.
And, you know, as good as the right hand has been, if Viloria can continue to land that left hook, this will be a very difficult fight for Solis. See the Solis jab. That's one of his best punches, but it hasn't been enough here in round 1 to deter Viloria.
And you see Solis becoming more and more aware of that left hook, keeping that right hand up the side of his head. So he's in defensive mode here.
A moment ago, you saw the uppercut by Solis. It just missed as Viloria kind of ducked his head in, but that's still a punch to watch for from Solis.
Good combination there from the champ. Wow, that was a fun first round, and guess what the doctor ordered here? As we'll try to listen in a little bit and see what's going on.
Ten calma, ten experiencia, ten madurez, ¿ok? El cabrón va a ser más fácil. ¿Ok? Salió con todo, muy bien. Tranquilo, salió con todo. Ya tiene la boca abierta. Tranquilo, relajado, pam, pam. Unifica, estírame tu izquierda.
Estira tu mano izquierda.
Esa derecha no quiero que vuelva a entrar.
He came out with everything, but you're okay. Well, this was how Brian Viloria dreamt about this first round going when he laid his head down in training camp to go to sleep. He was very effective. There's the right hand early in the round that created problems for Solis. And there were hooks, there was everything working for him. Viloria not known as a great right-handed puncher, but he was able to do it in round one.
Going to round two here. Glad you're with us on a Sunday morning. We've been talking to some of the fighters about preparing for Sunday morning. I talked to Brian right before he came in the building. He said he's been sparring at 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning to get used to this. And as he comes right back out doing what he did the first round, trying to really load up, just missed with an uppercut. Viloria's doing a good job going in and out now. Talking about his foot movement as he's boring in on Solis on the ropes now. Good shot to the body. Viloria just letting it all hang out, but not that much effective right there.
He took monstrous risks the way he was throwing those punches, and Solis was trying to counter him, but Brian Viloria, if you'd have told me that the Brian Viloria right hand was going to be the early most important story in this fight, I would say you were wrong, but it has been.
Well, the right hand landed as you said that, Al. Solis trying to dig into the body a little bit, but the quickness of Viloria has been impressive. He talked about having better head movement, giving lateral movement and angles to confuse Solis.
This is a great fight early by two skilled fighters who are both doing. Viloria, of course, is controlling the action, but you can tell that Ulises Solis, despite the issues he's had here in round two, has never lost his poise or composure and has continued to look for offensive opportunities.
And as you mentioned, that flurry on the ropes really exposed Viloria, but Solis was patient, got out of it, no damage.
Yeah, I mean, he was looking for a big counterpunch because Brian was really threw caution to the wind there, although he clearly had Solis in a little bit of trouble on the ropes. Both men now using their jab very effectively early on.
With the pace that Viloria set, I don't think they care about the jab.
Well, it's
but Solis is being more technical, I would say.
Yeah, he is, but, you know, Viloria helps set things up when he uses that jab. And so it's a good weapon for him, and that's what sets up the right hand for him. Solis has done great body work here in this round. In what obviously has been a more competitive round. The Viloria right hand after applying jab, very, very effective.
Of course, you will hear the crowd react to everything that Viloria does, whether it's effective or not. And here they go with the chants.
Chanting Viloria's name. There's been so much.
Well, that's a good combination for the champion.
Great combination
beautiful
by him. You know, there's been so much publicity here in the Philippines about Viloria and Donaire coming back to their roots as youngsters. So this crowd very into that. And wow, there's that right again by Viloria. Right at the end of the round.
Right at the end of the round. A more competitive round for Solis. And he will say for Solis, he's going to be patient. He knows what he's doing in there.
He's low. It's your part, okay? Make it easy. Don't get into his plan, okay? Don't fall into his plan. Don't let him be first, okay? What's up?
Don't worry about the low blow. I'll call it.
Okay, call it, bro.
Mira, el tipo está tirando. He has a very lazy jab, son, okay?
Respira. ¿Cómo te sientes? ¿Qué? Nuevo. Estás muy lento, carnal. Trata de soltarte más. Ya, pon, y para atrás, no te quedes porque está a la derecha o el gancho izquierdo. ¿Ok?
Así, si recibes de gancho, no bajes a la derecha, que ese güey te está cazando con el volado, güey. Vivo.
Síguele golpeando el cuerpo. ¿Ok? Relajado, tranquilo.
They tell him to keep moving side to side. They want a little more movement from Ulises Solis.
All right, round 3. Been great action the first 2 rounds. And, you know, this is no way to tell what could possibly happen in this fight because you got two great fighters.
They're both
fighting. They could turn on a dime.
Absolutely, and they both have had their moments early on. Viloria ranked number 1 by the WBO, 9 by IBF, trying to make his way back, and that one straight a bit low.
And McTavish was talking about that before the round.
Viloria wants to punch the body. He is a great body puncher. Ironically, Solis has probably done a better job early of going to the body here. You know, one of the issues coming into this fight that somebody may have worried about with Viloria is those 5 fights where he's rebuilt himself were against the last 3 of those fighters had a record of 38, 39, and 5 combined. So he hasn't been in against great competition. But that hasn't hurt him in this match. He has jumped right in and really done a great job.
The left hand just really caught Sosa's attention, and now he's going backwards.
So at least now with that left, it goes straight a little low for him. But Brian Viloria has used the 1-2 combination.
Oh, it's a low blow right there, and this is what's going to happen. McTavish warned it, and that one was a bolo punch.
What? He's taking a point away from Viloria, and I think there was a mistake there.
No, he knows he's correcting it now. You're right. He had the warning, and he took a point away, I believe, didn't he? So Wilson put that on the scorecard. I was about to say, you know, who's edging out the battle of the quickness is Viloria.
Yeah,
just a little bit quicker on the exchanges and the counter punching.
You know, both men landed low punches. That's interesting that he chose to take that away from Solis at that moment. So that makes this now potentially a round that Viloria could win by 2 points if he wins the round.
Could be huge. Could be huge on the scorecard.
This is a rocky beginnings for Ulises Solis. You know, I think he had visions of outboxing Viloria, having the edge in hand speed, which, as you point out, he hasn't necessarily had. And so he's kind of got to recalibrate what he does in the ring now.
And also, he mentioned and alluded to the fact that he knows coming into a hostile arena that he can't really depend on the judges, and he's got to put on a performance, a commanding performance, to hopefully not get his title taken away. That's always in the back of the fighter's mind.
Solis using his jab very effectively. It's a great weapon, but look at the counter right hand by Viloria.
Well, a little bit low there for Solis, and now they're head-to-head. Well, that leaves Viloria vulnerable to that uppercut that Bernstein was talking about over here.
And the irony is, who lands the uppercut on the inside? Viloria instead of Solis. So both men doing some uncharacteristic things, but both men fighting very well. But Viloria with the edge.
Tallón, doctor.
Agua. ¿Te cortó?
No.
No more low. I don't want to take points. No more low.
No, it doesn't.
No more.
The other point wasn't low.
No more.
Okay.
A ver.
Doc, arréglemelo.
No more low.
You know, McTavish urging, them in that corner to make sure there's no more low blows. Both men had actually landed some that went below the border. Viloria's still trying to get that right hand in. There's the uppercut that is kind of on the belt line, maybe a smidge low for Solis. And it wasn't monstrously low, but it did get the point deduction from referee McTavish.
Usually if it's monstrously low, then they're on their knees for a few minutes.
True, yes.
That's when it's monstrously low.
That's when you know it's really straight south of the border. This fight is one, in which Ulises Solis has found out a couple of things that have not been good for him. He's found out that the hand speed of Viloria is probably a little better than he anticipated. He's also finding out that Viloria's right is better than advertised, and those are things he's got to try and counteract now.
Well, Solis knew he was against a very strong, a very good technical fighter, but I have seen just through these first rounds a different Viloria than we saw 2 years ago, for sure. A rededication.
Another hook by Brian Viloria.
Right hand over the top.
He's off to a blazing start, but you know, there have been times in Brian Viloria's career where, and it's happened in a couple of his title matches, where the later rounds are not good for him.
Exactly,
so
that's his problem.
He's got to keep this going throughout.
I see a little blood trickling out there. I don't know exactly from where yet. Viloria's corner's concerned about headbutt. I've been impressed with Viloria's command of the ring and in and out when he has to, and showing good defense in different angles like he told us he wanted to, but there's that lead left. And Sosa made an interesting point about it. He said, I'll go Mexican if I have to. He's out there trying to be technical, throwing the jabs and this other stuff, but there may come a point where he turns the switch. Solis, excuse me.
Brian Viloria is, of course, from his great amateur career as an Olympian with over 200 amateur fights, he's just a sound fighter. And that's one of the reasons why, after he won his title, originally people thought he was going to hang on to it for a long, long time. It didn't turn out that way. But you can't downgrade his skills. They're excellent. And when he says he rededicated himself for this fight, you can tell he did, because he's very focused and fighting very well. That was a nice counter right by Solis.
Solis has actually stepped up his head movement now. Instead of boring straight ahead, now he's trying to really turn this thing around. In this round, I think Solis has a sense of what's happened in the first 3 rounds, and I see more aggression on his part. But Viloria, that quick right.
We've seen more combination punching from Solis in this round, and that's probably been the difference. It might be a reason why you could give him this round. He did not throw many combinations earlier.
Both exchanging on the inside right there. The lead right from Viloria with a miss. Solis just might figure this thing out, too.
That's why we pointed out that this is early in this fight, and this has certainly been a turnaround round for Ulises Solis, and he's used the jab and the combinations as a means to an end to get there.
Interesting round. Definitely the best Solis has looked.
No, can't. Okay? Hands up. Breathe. Keep your hands up. Okay, high. How you feeling? Good. Okay. You're in tremendous shape. This is the center on your way ahead, okay? You gotta stay closer to him, okay? Not from far away. Okay? You gotta stay closer to him. Okay? You gotta stay on him, okay? If you're from far away, he might just be controlling it. He's looking for the counter punch, okay? If you're from far away, he's trying to counter punch, okay? Just keeping his jab going, trying to get you to throw first and then counter, okay? No, wait, keep your hands up high. When you're rhythm, but stay on him, okay? You gotta stay on him, okay?
Brian Viloria continued to land those very good right hands. That was one of his better moments in round 4. But in a round that, for the most part, Solis controlled. And, one of those Filipino fighters, Rodel Mayol, that Solis
right.
Oh, wow.
Right off the bat, got Solis in trouble. Viloria came out and just banging away with that right hand we were just talking about.
Well, I was going to say, Mayol hurt Solis with the left hook a couple of times. That's the punch you think can get to Solis, but instead, right away here in round 1, or this round, Viloria shows that it's the right hand that he's using so effectively.
And he just cut him. Solis is cut as he comes back over the right. Good little uppercut with the left hand from Solis, trying to come back after just being pounced on in seconds with this round. We'll see if Viloria can dig down here in round 5 and continue to put the pressure on. We see the blood. A bad cut, pal. That's a bad cut for Solis. He's been cut before. We mentioned it. We were talking to him. But not only is he getting beaten, he's getting beaten up now. They're going to take a look at that cut. Just on the outside, you know more about these, Al, about what the position of the cut is. It probably won't hurt his vision.
Well, it's on the eyebrow, which isn't so great, but it is a little bit toward the outside. And they'll hopefully have a chance to get to it. We're early in the round, though, and Viloria could do more damage to that cut.
We got Viloria's corner literally smelling blood over here, and a little fist pump. And we look at the champion, Solis, coming back knowing it's time to get down and get to serious business. We'll see how he reacts.
Viloria just landed a very good right hand again, a little short counter right hand. And the Viloria jab has been woken up again by all this.
But it's been the right hand, Al. And Solis has tried to go to the bottom. There's another combination. Uppercut, straight in. Solis goes back on the ropes and holds on.
It's the Viloria jab that, oh, wow.
Oh.
Very
wow.
Good. That'll take a point away.
That's unfortunate.
He can get up to 5 minutes. Now, McTavish has not yet taken a point away. Perhaps he won't this time. That was a big break for Solis because, well, I guess he didn't get 5 minutes.
No, he didn't take 5 minutes.
Or McTavish didn't ask him if he wanted any more. The interesting thing is that helped Solis because it stopped the action for a while, and he was in some trouble.
And he didn't lose a point.
Yeah, so all in all, that worked out well for him.
20 seconds left in a big round for Viloria.
The overhand right by Viloria, very effective. You know, Solis isn't timid about going to the body. And oh, another low blow. Wow, you've got to take a point away.
You've got to take a point here. There he goes.
With all due respect, Solis' punches are straying very low.
I thought that was up high on the hip bone there, but it's still too low. And that's a sign of frustration. Oh. There's another one low.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is most guys are a little daunted to go downstairs when they've had points taken.
Viloria just poured straight in. Quickness. Solis has certainly got his attention with the low blows because he's not backing off one bit. Big round for the Hawaiian Punch.
And that would probably be a 10-8 round if you scored it for Viloria, which you should, with the point being deducted. So that's the second 10-8 round perhaps in this fight for him.
If the scoring, we'll listen in, keeps like that, the late rounds may not matter. Viloria will be up so much.
He was out, okay? And then he tried to go to the...
It was an eventful round, to say the least. There was the first low punch that brought the grimace from Viloria, and it kind of scraped up. It was low, but then it ended up in a semi-legal position. But Solis working on the inside, and that one, while it was close to the belt line, was, I thought, below the belt line. And Solis, with a point deduction and, of course, the great right hands by Viloria, ended up losing that round probably 10-8.
Round 6. We'll see how Solis reacts. They've stopped the bleeding over the right eye. And I'm not so sure that's where Viloria wants to be right there in the phone booth with him.
Well, you know, he wanted to be originally when this fight started out. But now, I don't know. You know, this thing has been topsy-turvy. It's been Solis doing the better body work, some of it legal, some of it not, and it's been Viloria mostly winning the battle of the jab and landing the right hands. You would have thought it would be the opposite.
Well, you mentioned at the outset that there's that uppercut. I was just about to say that. That's what he's leaving himself vulnerable to, Al, the one punch that you mentioned that Solis could really do some damage with. And if you're inside like that, that's where he's going to rip it right up the middle.
And he has landed some, that's for sure.
Let's go, Brian. Hands up. Stay close to him.
Round 6, long way to go. Solis has got to dig down now, the champion. He's had a lot of frustration. We are in the Araneta Coliseum in Quezon City in the Philippines, everybody. the site of the Thriller in Manila back in 1975, and we got a Thriller again in Manila right here as Brian Viloria is trying to win a world championship.
These two fighters have created great energy in this building, and let me tell you, Ulises Solis having himself a special round 6. He is doing very well.
More sharper punches, a good jab.
This is the best round he has had in this fight, by far.
Pretty good jab from Viloria. Viloria deciding it's best to be out here and not in there, because he came out inside and Solis found some work that he could get done. Solis working a nice jab right there. And we've mentioned Viloria's problem in his career has been late rounds. He mentioned that and talked about how he's tried to work on that.
And you know, the body work that Solis has done, even though some of it not, the Viloria right, that may have stunned him again. The body work that he is doing, Solis, could have an impact later in this fight. Viloria is giving ground in this round, looking, I think, to land those right hands again, but Solis has been more active in his 6th round. Another one below the waist. Wow.
And McTavish was on the other side of that, so he adjusts his trunks for them. Nice job.
You're gonna have to
right hand. Again, give Viloria a right hand. Solis tried to come back off that. He's got Viloria in the corner, and he lands a right hand.
Solis' combinations in this round have been excellent.
That's what we expected from him. I did hear the bell. This bell's not very loud, by the way. It's a teeny-tiny bell. Get a bigger bell.
There are a lot of interesting dramas being acted out here tonight, and that's one of them. And it could play a role as these fights go on, because if you can't hear that bell, action can happen after.
Very good. I made him pull his pants down. Huh?
Yeah, pull his pants down. The trunks. The trunks. The trunks. Pull his pants down. El tipo más atrás, presiona el cuerpo, pan, 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 el cuerpo, sigue golpeando el cuerpo. Ya está bien, la herida ya está bien, carnal. Vamos, hemos salido peores guerras. Sí, yo sé. Hemos salido peores guerras. ¿Cómo te sientes?
They're urging Solis to go after Viloria. They said you have to stay aggressive, and of course he was in that last round. That was an excellent round for Solis. That lead right hand, followed by these punches, and many more combinations from Solis. So he's put the ball back in Viloria's court to see if he can respond.
As we go to round 7 now, I'd like to ask, how many rounds have you actually given to the champion, Solis?
I've given him 2 rounds, but remember, 2 of the rounds that Viloria won might be 10-8 rounds, so that has an impact on the scoring of this fight.
In case you're wondering, folks, both fighters in green trunk, Viloria has the gold trim, and you get to a point in this fight, so what about Viloria, his late round tendencies? And he's getting hit in combinations. Solis has turned it around a little bit in his last 2 rounds. Another low blow.
You know, McTavish came in and they pulled the trunks up of Viloria, but some of those low blows are low no matter how low you pull, how you pull those trunks. And Brian Viloria himself has not done enough work to the body. I think that's something they wanted to do early. I think the other weapon he needs to pull out of his hat right now is the left hook. He's landing the rights, but the left hook is his money punch, and hasn't thrown it as much in this fight. But Ulises Solis mounting the comeback, there's no question about that.
And you can feel his energy as he's starting to be more active and sharper with his punches. Good right hand right there. It almost looks like Solis has gotten faster out, if that's possible, as the fight's going along.
Well, he's controlling the battle of the jab right now, which Viloria did a little bit earlier. And he's throwing the combinations, and Viloria's not throwing as much.
Just missing with a big right hand, so he's kind of letting his hands go here. Viloria trying to sit down a little bit and try to counter. Good left hand from Viloria. There's a left hook.
And that's the punch.
There it is. And he turned it around with that punch out. Just that moment. Some swelling. And a cut over the eye. And Solis, the champion, left eye swelling a little bit. And he's got a cut in the left eye now.
This is a very entertaining and well-fought fight by these two men. Demonstrating how good things are at these lower weight divisions and what good fighters there are.
Oh, that was a nice jab from Viloria. Bloodstream from both sides now, and the vision will become a factor, obviously. But Solis is actually such a great champion. Look how he keeps pouring it and trying to impose himself in the face of adversity. That's what a champion does, Al.
He's an excellent fighter, and he never loses his poise and hasn't in this match. This round is going to be a tough one to score. The first part belonged to Solis, and then Viloria took control of the second half. And Viloria's jab has made a big difference here in the second part of the round.
Solis is bloodied over both eyes.
That was a pivotal round in this fight, Alan, because how that one goes on the scorecards could well help determine this winner to a great extent.
Raul Martinez.
Raul Martinez,
he's undefeated coming in here, and he's going to really be in some hostile territory tonight, but he seems unfazed by it.
Comes in here off a first-round knockout win over Victor Proa, who was undefeated. He feels like he has become a better knockout puncher, Allen, and he thinks that will make a difference against Nonito Donaire tonight.
All right, they're going to come out for the 8th. A lot of work been done. They've cleaned up Ulises quite well over there in his corner. Actually, McTavish pulling Viloria's trunks down a little bit.
Yeah, well, they felt they were high, and that was part of the reason why some of those low blows were being caused. I'm not sure I'm completely buying in.
Oh, good right hand from the champ. Getting into the later rounds now, and my curiosity gets me. It was a tough round to score. What do you decide in round 7?
I thought Viloria did enough to pull it out in that round, but again, the judges may well see it the other way, and you could understand them seeing it the other way. So Solis did some extraordinarily good work during the course of that.
Solis looks good here in round 8 coming out. Accurate.
Solis survived trouble in the streets of Guadalajara as a youngster, got into the gym at age 15 as a boxer. It helped turn his life around, and he is one of the better champions in boxing, trying to hang on to a title tonight in the face of a very determined challenge by Viloria.
He says he is all... Oh, good uppercut from Viloria. Ripped it right up on the chin.
Now, here's the question. Solis has been more active in these last couple rounds to some extent, but Viloria has landed some very big punches. So it's going to be a question of what the judges are liking in these last couple of rounds. Viloria has been, for the most part, counter-punching in the last couple of rounds.
As that left hand.
And doing it well as in that case.
That's exactly what he's been doing. He's landing the bigger punches on the counter. We have a ways to go. Solis prides himself in being all boxing, all business, single, no children, totally dedicated to what he does in the ring.
The blood bothering Solis a little bit coming from that right eye now as he dabs at it. And now Viloria starting to go to that body a little bit more.
That's a nice one inside. Viloria's corner loving it.
Again, a very close round here in round 8. Early part controlled by Solis to some degree, and then Viloria coming back again.
And you have to admire Solis. His vision is definitely affected, but he keeps working through the adversity.
Viloria has found a home for those body shots. I think he hurt Solis to the body, and now he is really going downstairs.
You could sense a drop in the energy of Solis, and his legs a little bit more wobbly, not as sturdy as he was. But look at those quick combinations he's trying to land. Solis, left hand, and he gets Viloria in trouble.
That was almost a knockdown.
Almost. Wow.
Great round of boxing.
I know, I see it. Brian, you let him beat up. You let him take the lead. No, I don't want to see that. You can't give this away. We got 4 more rounds. Okay? You're ahead, but you cannot give it away, Brian. Come on. Okay, this next 4 rounds, we need them. Okay? Okay, how bad do you want it, Brian?
Animated work by Robert Garcia. They are worried about him, quote-unquote, giving it away. There's that excellent uppercut after Solis had landed his own good right hand. So both men landing big shots, and they are so conscious of the fact that in a couple of his failed championship attempts, there have been drop-offs in the last part of a fight for Viloria. And there toward the end of the round, we saw Solis almost create a knockdown. So Robert Garcia with an urgency in that corner.
Well, just as a point in fact against Edgar Sosa in 2007 when he challenged for the title in San Antonio, Brian led after 5 rounds, back and forth at the middle rounds, but he lost the last 4 rounds on all 3 scorecards, and that was the difference in that fight. Good right hand. Viloria didn't like to go back off like this one.
Great combination, and then Viloria smothered his own punches. He needs to give himself some punching room. Solis was hurt.
Another right hand and follows up the left hook. The last 2 rounds started out Solis, but this one started out Viloria.
You know, it's one of the subtleties in this fight, but when Brian Viloria uses his jab to help set up that right hand, he is effective. When he doesn't, that's when Solis can control the action with his own jab.
And it's been consistent throughout this fight. Now, when Viloria comes out early and takes charge, he wins the round. Leaves no question.
Now I think there's a little bit of blood from the left eye of Solis from some of those right hands. It's very red there.
And it looks like a cut on the lower lid of the eyelid. But he's been bleeding from both eyes.
This has been an extraordinarily well-fought fight, really, by both men.
One former champion, one current champion, giving it everything they have because they both know the stakes. There's a right hand from Solis. 1 minute left in round 9. Tremendous stakes for both fighters. And I will say through these 9 rounds, the remaking of Brian Viloria, no matter what happens, has been tremendous.
Yeah,
Robert Garcia.
Gary Gittleson, his manager, Robert Garcia, training him, have got him focused, I think, as much as anything else. So he did some good work, nice right hand under his former trainer, Joe Goosen, who's a terrific trainer. But I think Brian had to focus himself, and he's done it now.
And a lot of that doesn't have anything to do with the trainer, just making a change in the individual.
Has to invest himself, and Brian has done that, and he landed a monstrous left hook a moment ago. Solis getting hit with these big punches, but hanging in there very, very well.
Hanging in there very well, but I do sense a little wear and tear on the part of the champion. But look at him now.
He's throwing.
He's throwing again right at the end of the round, but that was a big round, I think, for Viloria.
Yeah, and a very exciting round period.
None of them have been too disappointing, I tell you that.
Respira, güey. Por la boca. Güey, te estás metiendo la derecha como puta agua. No sabes estirar la izquierda para bloquearla. Estírala, erguite más. Ve más erguido y estira la
Urging
izquierda.
Solis to throw the right hand. Jorge Solis is urging him to do that.
Recibe con derecha. Tira la derecha, güey. Que va a encontrar. Porque se avienta como pendejo.
In the last round,
La derecha no te la tiene que meter.
Viloria with a freight train right and then following with the left hook afterwards. That was early on in the round. And I'll tell you, those were superb punches by Viloria. The right hand especially was tremendous. And that's been, to me, the big headline in this fight. The fact that Viloria's right has landed much more than I think anyone anticipated it would. The left hook we kind of expected to get there.
Getting down to the business end of this fight. Round 10. World Championship on the line. And the champion probably behind at this point. Oh, here we go. McTavish is going to take a look at some.
Some work for the gloves.
For the gloves.
Solis. You know, among the three, Solis has not lost to a Filipino fighter. We've talked about that. One of the Filipino fighters that he beat, defended his title against, was Glenn Donaire, the brother of Nonito Donaire, who, of course, we're going to see very shortly in our main event tonight.
I'm always suspicious of the loose tape. There's that combination for him. And so at least comes back with a combination of his own. And don't forget, right into that last round, it was almost a knockout. At least almost had him. Blood streaming from the right hand. So at least looking a little frustrated there.
He's amazed, I think. There's almost a shaking of his head like, I can't believe I'm getting hit with all these right hands from this guy, and he is.
There's the left hook from Viloria. Viloria's corner employing him to throw more combinations.
You know, Brian Viloria, you know, we've said it, not to beat a dead horse, but a lot of this has to do with him not having lulls in fights. And you can feel the concentration in his face. You can feel the fact that even when things don't go well for a moment or two, he gets things back, and he's doing that much better now. And Solis has never, ever, ever given up in this fight. He has, you know, even when he's been hurt and hit with big punches, he comes back with good technique and good combinations. So this is not a fight, and believe me, this fight very much in doubt in some ways. Even if Viloria is ahead on the cards, as we suggest, Solis still has many chances to win this fight.
Another right hand. And you got to wonder about the attrition of the champion, because he's kind of hard on the lion. Now, Viloria boring in. The champion's on the ropes. Viloria got to be careful not to leave himself open. He's in with a savvy guy.
And he smothered his punches there, Brian Viloria. He needs to give himself a little more room. Solis definitely rocked. This is Viloria's chance, I think, to end this fight.
If he doesn't, as he didn't throw out too much gas on that combination, like you said, he smothered his own punches. 30 seconds left in round 10, and he's got the champion slowed down.
You got to give Ulises Solis tremendous credit. He has great poise. He's got just toughness in that ring. He's coming back after that, being hurt so badly. He's hanging in there.
Viloria wants to get out of that corner. Well, Solis trying to do some damage, and he did land a couple of punches there. Viloria's trying to stay out of harm's way here. Now Solis landing big punches into this round. Like you said, all the credit in the world due to the champion.
Oh, that's great boxing. That's exciting, and it's well fought.
There's Donaire. Nonito Donaire Jr.
Keep it up, it's great.
A lot of storylines to get to on that as he gets ready to take on an undefeated fighter, Raul Martinez.
Hoping to excite this crowd much as they have been excited by this fight.
You heard him. Let's go. 2 more rounds, championship rounds. How about you want it? Show everybody that thought you couldn't make it anymore.
In the last round, Brian Viloria hurt Solis. He had him hurt at this point, but just couldn't. He smothered a lot of his punches and couldn't land as effectively as he wanted there. He had already hurt him at this point. And that was where Solis, that was a seminal moment in that round, because that was where Solis was able to weather it and come back and land some good punches.
And right into round 11, Viloria walks across the ring and throws a left hook. And we'll see how the champion responds. Anything can happen still. It's been a tremendous show. Big right hand from Viloria.
this junior flyweight division with Calderon, Edgar Sosa, the man who beat Viloria and lost to Solis a couple of times earlier in his career, and it is a very good, solid division, as is the one we're going to see in a little while, the flyweight division in our main event. Number of good fighters.
Absolutely. Reminds me of the days of Chiquito Gonzalez and Michael Carbajal.
Wow.
Those were great days, and we have a little bit of that now.
Absolutely, and more attention being paid to these lower weight classes. And this is what you get. You know, this is as good a boxing match as you'll ever see.
Once again, you're right. And that's what we've been talking about, coming to this part of the world to see this, where these weight classes put on such great shows, and it's a credit to the sport of boxing. And these two fighters certainly are a credit to the sport of boxing and the history of boxing.
I'll tell you, this is, you know, the interesting thing is that Solis again now being warned for a low blow. You know, you find out about champions when they are Solis is in danger, and he has responded. Even if he loses this fight, which is very possible, he's responded as a champion.
And his attitude is so tremendous when you talk about the fact that he's beaten Sosa twice and Viloria lost him. He said it makes no difference. It's just people you can't judge on that. It's what happens in the ring, and look what's happening here.
He was absolutely right. Brian Viloria.
Right here once again. And you know, Solis has to hear the crowd and get somewhat discouraged sometimes. It's just human nature. I tell you why, if it goes the distance and Viloria doesn't get the decision, we might have to go under the table.
That's conceivable.
We might have to get under the desk. That's just a slip, little water, sweat in the middle of the ring. The Aranata Coliseum has filled up nicely for this fight card on a Sunday morning. Right-handed, down goes the champion. Finally, the right hand puts Solis on the canvas. 6. Watch it, that's it. Brian Viloria has won the world championship.
Now that's a homecoming.
All the credit in the world to Brian Viloria, and Solis is still on the canvas. Solis is still on the canvas. They're putting a towel underneath the head of Solis, who took a lot of punishment. They're going to be, I hope, very careful. I was talking about the attrition of the hard right hands, and finally one really landed solid on the button. The great champion is down and not up yet. We are hoping for the best as they go to the oxygen now. And he's on his feet. And onto a stool. The right hands were there all night. The right hand's there all night, and finally, he chopped down the tree, and Brian Viloria, who rededicated himself to this sport, doing a little bit of a hula now. A tremendous victory for a young man that had almost been counted out. 2 disappointing shows against Omar Nino. Terrible loss against Sosa to lose his championship, and he's back on top. Brian Viloria, and for all the credit in the world, a young man who says, you know, I'm not doing things right, and everything was on the line for me. He said it. I didn't say it. The media didn't say it. He said, this is my whole career, and he is back. Almost unheard of. Let's take a look at the knockout one more time. Just solid on the jaw. No doubt, knees buckle. Solis Took him a couple of minutes to get up off the canvas. Just a beautiful, perfect punch. And we had an indication that Viloria was serious about this coming into it, and I talked to him a lot in the lobby at our hotel, and I said, you know, you fought 5 times last year, no matter the quality of the opponent. He says, you know, that's almost unheard of, but I knew I had to. I had to make changes, and he did, and he went to a new gym in La Colonia. All business, knowing what was at stake. And there's the congratulations from the champion, who is still dazed and bedazzled what Brian Viloria did him tonight. And right now, let's send it up to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes 56 seconds in round number 11. Our referee in charge, Bruce McTavish, reaches the count of 10. He is the winner by way of knockout. He is the new IBF light flyweight champion of the world, the Hawaiian Punch, Brian Viloria.
Everybody loves a comeback and a success story, and all the credit in the world to Brian Viloria. We'd also like to say what a great effort by the champion, Solis. He's still in the ring. They still have him on a stool. Taking a close look at him, you saw the tremendous punch and the power behind it. Solis just now stood up and waving at the crowd, and a big hand for this great champion. Tremendous fighter. Comes up on the short end tonight of Hawaiian Punch. We'll hear from him again. And to his credit,
World champion Ulises Solis.
Ulises Solis puts his title on the line in unfriendly territory. And what a moment. Boxing history once again being made at the Arenado Coliseum. We're waiting here. Let's go up to Al Bernstein now.
Well, some great moments as we saw the camaraderie between these two fighters. First of all, I guess this is kind of the way you imagine this homecoming, huh?
It's a storybook ending. The last year, 5 fights in a row in places that people go shopping at, like little swap meets and run down corners, and just having my team just believe in me and work with me throughout the year, and coming in here to win a world title fight such as this. I mean, you can never write a better ending than that.
This fight is kind of your career in microcosm, really, because lots of challenges during the course of this fight, not everything working perfectly in against a great champion, but at every turn, when people might have said, oh, Brian Viloria, who sometimes hasn't had focus, maybe has had his issues, at every turn in this fight, you were able to get focused and make things happen your way.
That's what we trained for. I mean, we had to stay focused every minute of the round for 12 rounds, and there was exchanges in there where I had to just let it go. I mean, that's where my strength is, and I let my punches go, and Solis, you just held Solis back. He had a great jab. He was catching me a lot of great jabs, but I was able to overcome that and come back with 2 or 3 punch combinations, and I snuck in a right hand in there.
Yeah, you snuck a few right hands in there. One of the big headlines of this fight, and they're gonna roll the final knockout, was that I think at the beginning of this fight, people wouldn't have expected your right hand to be the dominant punch in this fight. It really was.
Yeah, it was. We were training with right hand. I got a great right hand. That's how I won the other world champion. It was a great right hand. And, my right hand is an arsenal that I have. I haven't been using it in the past fights, even in the fights, because, I think it was more myself as an issue as an opponent. I came in underweight for this fight. I mean, I was 107 a day before the weigh-in, and I wanted to be right on weight, and I was. I mean, the training camp went perfect. There was nothing in the training camp that held me back, and I got to show it with the world title.
You sure did. There were moments in this fight. Ulises Solis, after you heard him, he came back with great combinations. He had several very good rounds. Was there ever a moment in this fight when you thought, oh, this thing might be slipping away from you a little bit?
No, I didn't want to get too careless. I know Solis got good punches when when we exchange, and I didn't want to get caught with any punches. I knew if I touched him in the right hand, I know Robert and I have been working on that, and I mean, my right hand has been perfect all training camp, and I just let it go tonight, and that's what happened.
Next up for you, you're going to obviously have a chance to defend this title, or what are you looking at?
Right now, I'm just going to try to soak in everything.
You might want to enjoy this title for just a minute or two.
I want to enjoy this for a minute. I mean, I had no rest last year, 5 fights. I mean, that's unheard of in the boxing world. And that just got me ready for this fight, and I think we deserve a well-rested.
Well, you and your trainer, Robert Garcia, did a great job of preparing for this. By the way, we tried to get Ulises Solis. He left the ring. Understandable. We wanted to chat with him, but clearly it was a very tough outing for him, and he had to leave. But a great win for you, and I know emotionally this means a lot for you to come back here and get this done, and get it done at the age of 28, when amazingly in the sport of boxing, you can only have 2 losses at 28, yet even you acknowledge some people felt like this was your last chance.
Yeah, it was my last chance, and to come out, you know, I had to go put everything on the table. If I lost this fight, I had to reconsider my sport in boxing.
Well, congratulations. A great win, Brian.
Thank you.
Brian Viloria makes his coming back here to the Philippines a good one. Back to you, Alan.